Hey guys, welcome back. Long time no see. I just wanted to put a little something here at the beginning of the video to talk about. Obviously, I've missed far too long. Um, just wanted to talk about it for a second. I started this channel at the exact same time as I started a company. Um, it was a genius idea, really, and this collaboration with Austin came about fairly early in starting this channel. And it was supposed to be, as we talked about in the first one, we were just going to stick a motor in it. But my inability to just do that kind of got me as usual. So it kind of got drawn out and then became kind of a problem with doing everything else in my life. So it's all excuses. It doesn't matter. We did get it done. It is back in Austin and Katrina's possession. And they're going to continue with it down the road, doing the wiring and whatnot. I have many plans on all my cars that we're going to get ready to tackle into. But I think from here on out, I'm going to aim for every other week posting. With everything I got going on with a couple of young kids and everything else, filming, editing, and putting up a video every week is just not feasible. Because this is just for fun. I apologize for the long delay. But we did get it done. I am happy with the results. And when Austin and Katrina get done with it, the things that they're going to do to it, it's going to be a real nice car. So, but anyways, enjoy the video. And the next one out will be doing a mechanical underhood restoration on my straight six F-150. And then we're going to move into starting on the Scout. If I don't, my two kids are probably going to beat me up in my sleep because they are very excited about it. So, but anyways, thanks for tuning in and enjoy the video. Today, we've got motors in, as you already know. Carb is on top, although I got to put longer studs on it. We are going to install it with the nitrous plate. I don't believe that we are going to plumb the nitrous plate right off the get-go, but we do plan on running it. It is the right color, matches everything, and it's a spacer, so we're just going to go ahead and install it while we're doing it. Radiator is hung, but it is only hung in with 2 bolts. So I need to finish putting the rest of the bolts. I need to put some washers, etc. And then the hoses that I have that were on the car originally don't seem to want to work terribly well now. So I may go down and try to figure out something to better fit. Again, I don't know how to do a build like this and not do it to the level that I want, which is why I don't do this for a living anymore, because I have too much. I don't know, it's not ADHD, I have that too, but anal retentive, I don't know. I can't just half-ass it. I have to do it to the best of my ability, or I just can't do it. So anyways, we have some plug wires to trim to fit, because these plug wires are about 2 foot too long on every single plug wire. Bunch of little stuff. We've got transmission cooler lines underneath that need to be plumbed, and the shifter cable has to be put on. I'm going to wait to do it till I have somebody here to help me figure out. If I don't recall, either that or I got to go back and look at footage. I don't recall if it was set up as a pull or a push. AKA, I don't remember if it was coming to the front of the transmission pan, coming from the front of the transmission, or if it was coming from the back. Normally, they're from the back, but the way the cable's laying, it doesn't seem to be wanting to be done that way. So I'm either going to have to drop the tail of the transmission to get the cable over the transmission to come out on the passenger side and then go over and around and down, or it goes to the front, which is the way it wants to lay now. So long story short, if you see that hanging, that's the reason why. I'm just waiting until somebody's here and we'll figure that out. There's plenty of things to do until then. and we're going to get on this. I have, I'm not a very good YouTuber. I did a lot of stuff off camera for the sake of trying to get this thing done. All the steering parts are painted. I was getting ready to put them on, and I had missed a couple spots. So there's a couple wet spots on those. They're finishing up. I can throw those on. These are the brake calipers. They are painted. And in the back room, I have cleaned up the calipers. They are base coated, painted. I am doing them. I don't know if Katrina knows I'm doing it or not, but she's wanting to do. That did used to look good. It peeled. I'm gonna have to redo it, but she's liking this purple metallic as an accent color. And while it's not my thing, it does make the car unique, and that's what she likes. And so I'm all for somebody making the car themselves, especially women. There's not enough women in the sport, in the hobby, doing things themselves. So, anyways, long story short, I am painting her calipers that particular color. Austin was nice enough to get me the can of it so that it's the right color. They eventually are going to have to upgrade the brakes on this car, so it's just kind of a temporary thing anyways. But they were rusty and looked horrible compared to all the work that we've done underneath there. So I'm going to go ahead and clean them up. Anyways, they are base coated with a silver metallic, and then I have to put the purple over the top. So we're waiting on those to dry. But as I said, I have many things to do until then. I have to figure out a battery box, battery tray. That was on our list, but I don't think it ever got bought. So there's that. We're not going to put it in the trunk. This is not a race car. It's a 12,000 pound Charger that she wants to street drive. So I'm not going to bother going through the effort putting it in the trunk. But we are going to have to come up with a tray probably. Brake master cylinder has to get put back on. As far as I know, it just needs to be reinstalled and then bled. But the calipers are off the car anyway, so it had to be bled anyway. So no big deal there. I do need to find it. I think it's in the trunk. And yeah, so lots of little things. I've got a 6AL to put on this car. We're going to run that with the carburetor. It is eventually getting an EFI. I believe they're going to go with the new Aces kit. And in which case the two boxes work the same, so he can switch over to their box. And you know, Lord knows Austin has 30 cars. I'm sure he can find somebody to stick that 6A. But we're going to use it for the temporary purposes. Also, there's a fuel line that needs to be plumbed. The tank is in and it's done. Austin got that done. And so I got to look and see how far I want to get into the fuel system on this thing. Realistically, it's going to have a different setup for EFI versus carburetor. So I got to have a real talk to myself about how far I really need to go with it to make the carburetor setup work. You know, my gut reaction is to run all new lines and run it with a regulator and do a return regulator, etc. But he has a pump that doesn't need to be regulated. Realistically, it doesn't need a whole lot to make it work. So I'm going to have a come to Jesus with myself and realize that enough is enough, and I just need to make it work. So, but that's another thing that we're working on. So, but we got. I showed you this side. We did this side. It shortened the cap side on the cap side over to the plug wires. Radiator is firmly mounted. I had a battery tray. It was a universal one from Napa. I went ahead and got it. I don't know how hard it is to get the correct one for a 73, but that one laid in there just fine. I bolted it in. The sheet metal up in the front is one of the few places that it's been kind of patched a little bit and it wasn't super structural, so I wasn't sure that the factory one was going to work terribly well anyway, so I bolted it in with 3 bolts. They have nylocks on the bottom. They shouldn't come apart. It does slide this way if I don't have it bolted in. The tray is a little bit bigger than the battery, so we have to make sure that we bolt it in this way. I did have Austin get a dual post battery with both sides. When you do EFI, it's a huge plus if you can use a battery with both posts. The EFI always wants to go to directly to the battery, power and ground. And if you can put it on its own post, the battery is a huge filter. It prevents you from knocking out the ECU. The plug wires are ran. These ones are not too bad. They're up out of the way. Header wise, they're fine. I don't think there's going to be an issue. I ran it up over the valve cover. A, I like the way that looks. B, he's at some point going to show up with a CVF front drive for this, and I don't want it to get in the way. So I set an air cleaner I had on it. They had a really short one. It was real dirty. And that lid, I imagine he's probably going to want to pick up a lid now that he sees how gross that looks. And then the new one matches the valve covers and everything. Looks pretty good. I like the tall one. I think there's enough room with that scoop that the big cleaner will work anyways. Now that this thing's actually making some horsepower. I got the plug wires routed out around. They lay nice around the gauge. It's got to run the fuel. And I have the 6AL. I think Austin probably bought a little bit more than he probably needed. This is an Ultra 6AL Plus. He probably could have got away with a base 6AL or even a 6A, but an L is not a horrible idea. It's an automatic, so it's not super likely you're going to bounce it off the limiter, but it's possible. I'm trying to decide, wiring wise, it would be easier to put it over by the battery for cleanliness. I don't know if you figured out yet that I'm pretty big on trying to do things as clean as possible. The wiring coming out of the box here would be shorter going over there. However, there's a lot of stuff over there and there's not a really good place to mount it. So I'm thinking over here is going to be where we mount it. Here, so I'd like it to have that reel, but it doesn't quite fit here. Then the wiring has to come out and there's no real way to hide that. Mounting it here is good. The wiring can go straight down. That's option 1 probably. And then option 2 is here to have it completely out of sight. That's probably winning right now because then I could hide the wiring real good. I don't care if the box is seeable, but I would like to be able to hide as much of the wiring as possible. I also thought about putting it back here along the back firewall. There's not a real good spot to mount it, and that puts it right over the heat. I try to keep his electronics as far away from heat as much as possible. Obviously in the engine bay, it's still going to be hot, but let's not mount it directly over the headers. So I'm thinking right there on that core support is going to be where it's going to go. Katrina and Austin are coming over this evening, and they're bringing some of the parts that we were short. I am currently working on, let me get a flashlight up here. Close the garage door so you didn't have traffic, and now you can't see. There we go. I am working on mounting the fuel pump. We're going to mount it right here. Get up in here. There we go. There's one hole. I got to mount another one. I'm putting thread zerts. I cleaned the paint off so that it would lay flat. As you can see, it's pretty rough. We are using one of Jegs' pumps. It's this one here. It's basically like a black pump from Holley. We are going to use it. I'm actually going to mount it. I'll show you up here. The way we're going to do it, it's actually going to work out pretty good. I'm going to mount that on, you can see it, but I'm going to use that hole in there. So it's going to mount it about there. So that's the output here. And that actually, you can see the line comes around and then backwards like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate that one down, and then it can go straight from there to the output. It'll actually go towards the back of the car outwards, but then it'll go through the factory fuel line. I won't have to mount the fuel line at all. And then it'll come for the pickup. It'll come out, it'll come out of the tank right there, and then just loop right to the input. I will have to plug that vent tube, or I'm going to have to vent it. I have to figure out if this is vented anywhere else. I didn't install the tank, so I may have to run that to a vent. I don't know. The gigantic, complicated vent thing that was on this car is around here somewhere. We set it down. I don't remember where it's at. Anyways, we'll figure that out. But it should be a pretty simple install for this. I am getting ready. What made me think about picking you guys up, because I am not that good of a YouTuber yet. I was getting ready to copy or to cut this. This is thin rubber. It's a rubber sheet. I actually had this at one point. I was making a fan shroud. And if you look at some of the good fan shrouds, in the areas where the fan isn't covering and it's sheet metal, they have something similar to this. So that going down the road, it blows open, and then the weight of it makes it blow shut. And it makes the fans, it actually sucks shut because of the fans, and it makes the fans suck air through the radiator. But when it's going down the road, it blows out of the way and lets the airflow, normal airflow, go through the radiator and not block airflow. So anyways, that's why I have this. So I'm going to lay this out here. You can use this kind of rubber. I found it on Amazon. You could also use something like this if you had one of these that got kind of just tore up. There's a lot of ways you can do it, but I'm going to just trace this out. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because that's a metal bracket and that's a metal frame rail, and it can transfer. That's the word I'm trying to think of. It can transfer noise. Now these pumps they're not super loud. However, if your fuel pump is really, really loud, there's a problem. I see a lot of problems. Let's have a little talk about this. I saw a lot of problems on the tech line with electric fuel pumps. Carbureted fuel pumps, low pressure fuel pumps like the one I'm putting on, they can suck a little bit of fuel. They need to be mounted as close to the fuel pump as possible. Ideally, this isn't the way to do it. It's still pulling it from the sending unit, and it's got to pull it uphill a little bit. But because it's carbureted, it's low pressure. It's okay. It'll work. It's short term. That's the other part. This is short term because it's going to go EFI. Ideally, it needs to be pulled from the bottom of the tank. And the pickup of the fuel needs to be lower than the point you're getting fuel from, and it needs to be downhill. What ideally it should be is if the fuel feed to the input of the carburetor, to the input of the fuel pump comes loose, it should drain your gas tank. That's the ideal situation. That's why in drag racing fuel cells with a rear sump, the fitting is at the bottom rear of the tank, both for G-forces that push the fuel to the back of the tank and because that's going to drain that tank. For what I'm doing, this low pressure, it does these pumps do have a little bit of suction. Now, the electric fuel pumps, first of all, my opinion from seeing lots and lots of cases like this, don't use an external fuel pump for EFI. 90% of the time, it's a problem because of what I'm saying. You have to have it fed by gravity. Any kind of volume issue, it starts to suck air. If going back to what I started to say, is if your pump is noisy, it's sucking air. Air and fuel together in a pump makes it noisy. Fuel lubricates and quiets, and it makes it quiet. Now, especially a pump like this, where the motor, this is the pump, this is the electric motor. This stays quiet. This is going to make a hum because it's an electric motor. So know the difference. But if your pump is screeching, it's sucking air. If it's sucking air, it's going to make your fuel hotter. It's going to make the pump hotter. It's going to make the pump live a very short period of time. And if all that's okay with you, it's going to heat the fuel up and it's going to make less horsepower because hot fuel doesn't make as much horsepower. So do it right. If you can put a pump in the tank, do it. Now, not all places, there are applications when you can't do that. Mainly it's the older pickup trucks where they have the tank behind the gas tank or behind the seat. If you can't put that tank in the bed rails, which you should for safety reasons, if you can't and you want to put EFI on it, you need to put a bung in the bottom of that tank, and then you can do a frame rail pump. I've had to recommend that to some people, but that's pretty close to the only time I ever recommend a frame rail pump. That's my personal opinion, but that's my opinion that I've developed over having to solve drivability issues over and over and over again because guys don't install the fuel pumps right. Also, use a good gauge wire running electricity to the back of the car. Voltage drops and fuel pumps take amperage. This one, not so much. This one's not going to pull that much, but I'm still going to use a good quality TXL wire and a decent size gauge. Actually, I have somewhere. I'll have to find it. I think it's in the trunk. Austin bought a fuel pump relay kit so that it has a relay built into it and it's pulling power, not from the 12 volt source, the key on source. It's pulling it from the battery, which is the way you should do it. So I'll install that. Anyways, back to what we're doing. Anyway, so again, these shouldn't be that noisy. However, it does vibrate, and vibration metal to metal can cause transfer of noise and whatnot. So I'm going to put this thin gasket between the two, and it will quiet it down, or at least help keep it quiet. There are companies out there like DEI. They make a good quality product. They make some things that you could use for this. They make a spray that's a heat and sound. Something like that might also work for this, but I just have this rubber laying here. Rubber is always good for that. It should last long term. And like I said, this is a temporary solution anyway. So free is good on this particular situation. So all right, let me get to trimming this out and cutting it, and then I'm going to drill the second hole. I'm going to hold it up there and make sure that my magic mark that I marked is still lined up. And we'll drill the second hole, put the second thread zert in, and we'll get this thing mounted, and then we'll show you getting this thing plumbed up. So we have the gasket cut. Nothing super fancy. I didn't take a lot of time making it the exact size because, again, this is temporary. But I want it to be right when it is on the car. So got 2 screws. Kind of hard to see, but we have 2 thread zerts. I hit it with the old big rig. We've talked about that. No need to talk about it again. This one is the factory bolt hold down. So is this one. This one's tight. This one's not. This one is going to receive the ground cable lug. I was going to put it on the pump itself, but I'm putting a rubber gasket, so I don't want to put it on the top side. And if I put it on the bottom side, then it's going to space this out weirdly. And anyways, and this was right here anyways, so I'm just going to use it instead. Hopefully it has enough ground, or I'm going to have to pull it back apart and clean it a little bit more to get a better ground. But that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get it put on, and then we'll put hose on it. So, okay, and there it is, all installed. I used crimp clamps so that, I'm blowing it out a little bit. Let's see if I can light that a little better. I'm using crimp clamps. A, I had them, but B, we don't have to worry about them coming loose. Worm clamps have a tendency to come loose, and I didn't have any fuel injection clamps of the right size, so I use crimp clamps. Those are barb connectors on all the spots. Now, that is not 100% the way I would love to do that. It is sucking from uphill and from the filler, but we already talked about that. But it's a short run and it's a low pressure pump, so that should be good. It should work just fine, especially for a temporary situation. It is mounted nice and firm. It's not going anywhere. It's got the rubber gasket we talked about, the ground wire. I may have to take it apart and clean it some more. We'll see. Or I may have to run it up front with this wire. But this wire is the positive. It needs to have the wire coming back from this wire is the positive. It needs to have the feed coming back from the relay. I'll probably mount the relay in the front and run the wire back. But since it's also going to be a temporary setup, I'm going to probably just zip tie it to the fuel line or zip tie it to something under here and just run it back. But there it is. It's nice and mounted. It shouldn't have any problems. Shouldn't have any leaks. I do have a vent hose, vent line like we talked about. I have to do something with yet, but we're getting there. Check it off the list. All right, next thing on the list is these transmission lines that they were on the car when we got the car here. They were dangling, they were bent. That is what we're starting with. Some of that bend has probably got to be in it. A lot of it isn't. This down here especially was bent out of the way to put the motor back in the car, put the cable back in the car. So I'm using this roller. So I'm using this roller that I bought off of Amazon. It actually is, there's a lot of junk on Amazon. Let's just be serious. But every once in a while you find a company that is a little small company that makes stuff and they just sell their stuff on Amazon because it's easier than having a storefront. That's one of these. This thing is all aluminum. It's got roller bearings in it. This thing is the tits. It's got a flange on the bottom. You can just clamp it in a vise. I don't do enough of this to need something that's permanently mounted, so I just stick in the vise when I need it. It's a roller. It rolls. You roll it one way, and then you turn it and roll it the other way. This is not the first one of these ever built. I understand that. So but that's what we're doing. We're straightening this up. If I can find the link, and these guys are still selling these, I'll put the link in the video and the description, etc. But we're getting these straightened out. Other than the flare and the nut down here, I know that'll be the same. The transmission has not left the car. That will be left on there. I'm going to leave this bend because I know this needed to be on there. But I'm going to straighten it up to here, and then we're going to feed it back up in the car, and we'll hand bend it to fit around things to not get destroyed. They had it previously had it zip tied together as a set. I will probably do the same, and we'll get this thing to where we can put transmission fluid back in it. I'm going to flush it with some brake cleaner to get any of the foreign matter that's acquired over the last 4 years and or being in my shop out of it, and then we'll hook it up to the cooler that's on the front of the radiator. We've made a tremendous amount of progress. Katrina and Austin have showed up. They're over here trying to get the last little bit done. I think I left off. I got the fuel pump done. I have the tranny cables, shifter cable, kickdown cable. We are doing the trans lines now. Up on top, it's pretty close to done, other than a throttle cable, and we're in the process of changing a brake booster and master cylinder. Stuff we got to get up underneath the dash. So otherwise, we're getting pretty close to being done. I don't think it's not leaving today, but I think we're going to start it here in just a little bit. So fingers crossed. We got to put some tranny fluid in it and check fluids. Oh, we got to put coolant in it. But yeah, we're getting there. We've got the whole crew here today. We are hopefully the last blast to get this thing done. And by done, I mean the list of things that I'm responsible for. They've got a whole list of things to do when they get it home. So I'm doing a lot of work off camera because you can only show wiring so much. We have the battery is mounted. We've got a positive cable, negative cable going to the block to the chassis, and chassis to the battery. This is the start wire. This is the accessory wire for the starter. It has to still go into the harness and go inside. This is the rest of the harness that's still going to go inside. We warrantied out the carburetor and bought a new throttle bracket because the last one was sandblasted and looked bad. We have a new accessory or new throttle cable that we have to attach inside and then shorten. As that one was a little too short. So we've got a bunch of little things left. We got the coolant system is now completed. Did we decide if we were running we're going to put an electric fan on this thing now?
Yeah, because I didn't buy the mechanical front plate for them.
Okay.
So we're gonna run electric fans on it.
So do we have an electric fan?
We do not.
Okay, so this is going to only run for short periods of time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
At least long enough to be able to verify everything is good. That's the plan.
Yeah. Get it up on a car trailer.
Yeah. And realistically speaking, I mean, it's got a ton of cooling, so.
Yeah. Well, so this car's getting rewired really shortly. So like the wiring that I'm running inside for the MSD box is just going to be put on a switch. I am going to put a little LED in it just so that they don't, forget that it's on, or can know that it's on, etc. But some of the wiring up here and over to there is done really well, to the point where when they rewire the car, they can just tie into it and leave it. The wiring that's going inside the car, I'm just doing in a temporary but adequate way.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So we're getting close. We've got a new master cylinder and brake booster to swap out. All that's going to happen when we get the wheels on it and get it off the lift so we can open the doors. We get to stick Austin and Katrina get to Rochambeau for who gets to slide up underneath the dash and change the brake booster and the throttle cable. So, but hopefully this is going to be part of the last video for this car, at least unless they do upgrades in the future. So, but
at least the last video here.
At least video. Well, I mean, you maybe you'll do upgrades and bring it over, but at least for the series of getting it back on the road, hopefully this is it. So, all right.
There's oil pressure on the gauges on the floor.
I can't.
Well, that sounded okay.
It's laying face down.
And we don't currently have an oil leak here,
There, yeah.
so that's good. Sounded like it was all right on the. Well, you're gonna have to be a little uncomfortable here and be able to hold that up as well as turn the key.
Here's this so you can watch for leaks and stuff too.
Okay. Hit the key. We want to see that oil pressure come up.
Okay. It's not moving.
Does the gauge have to have power?
I wouldn't think so.
Should just be for the light, right?
Yeah, it should be just for the light. Say it again?
It's not kinked out here.
Hit it again. Well,
Nothing on this thing is moving.
Well, nothing should other than oil pressure.
Yeah, it's not moving. It's not even flinching.
we know we had oil pressure before because it spat oil.
Yeah.
So it may just be not reading on the gauge. We could have kinked something somewhere.
Well, I can see most of it right here. It's straight. It's not kinked. At least not out here.
You talking about that copper wire?
Yeah, make sure that copper tube isn't kinked anywhere. Because you should have seen oil pressure by now.
Because it ran once, so it's not like it's all drained.
Right.
Nope. I don't see anything. I'm looking clear back to the firewall.
Okay, well, fire it up, roll it over again. Let's keep an eye on that oil pressure gauge and see the oil pressure.
Fire it up then?
I would say let's give it about 5 seconds on the starter to make sure it's got oil circulating, and then hit the starter. Regardless of whether or not it shows oil pressure on the gauge, we know we have oil. We know we have oil pressure.
Yeah.
It just may not be reading on the gauge. I may have screwed something up, which is possible.
I mean, you did do
I did do
it
it.
tire and upside down, so.
That's also true. Okay, hit it, and then we're gonna.
Okay. All right, this is fuel pump and fans. Okay, and this is MSD. All right, go ahead and crank.
Yep.
What?
Knock the drum off and break.
Oh god.
So backfiring through the exhaust,
Yeah,
timing wise.
yeah.
Okay.
So wait.
Huh?
But we didn't move the distributor from when it was on the dyno.
Yeah.
But we did move the plug wires one to get it to fire the last time.
Right.
We could move it one back to where we thought it was right the first time.
Which way did you go?
I mean, well, I think one's marked. This one's one. I believe I went this way. I believe that's one that's marked in here.
I was here, I want to say, I think you went counterclockwise.
So I guess you could say a few things have escalated. I got to thinking about how I wired the MSD and realized I had not put a fuse in it. I don't like doing that, and I really wanted to change that. And I realized I needed to wire a fuel pump relay and a fan. And so I went ahead and I picked up, so I ended up pulling a lot of this back apart. I picked up this fuse holder. The fuses aren't in it obviously yet, but the fuses go here, and the LEDs turn on when the fuses are popped. I believe that's the way. I haven't turned it on yet, but and so I am rewiring parts of that. The MSD wires that come through here, they are labeled now. I use my heat shrink. You can read it very well, but Get it to focus. Well, anyways, this is the fuse 12 volt for the fuel pump. And this is for the MSD. This one, actually, this is for the charger. This charger lead that I had put on here. This is for the MSD 12 volt, and this is for the fan 12 volt. I did check the fan. It only pulls 18 amps. I'm sure it spikes a little higher than that, but we'll see. It came with a circuit breaker that was only rated for 20, I think, or 30. I'll double check. Anyway, I haven't put the fuses in. I was going to check before I put the fuses in. But yeah, I was just going to put a fuse in it that was rated for what the circuit breaker came from. That way it'll have fuses. Anyway, so this will all be, the battery sits this way a little bit. So all this will be, it'll be protected by the battery. It'll be somewhat hidden. It's all going to be tied up neatly anyways. I'm waiting on some loom to show up to finish looming this up. This goes over, and then the plug that plugs in the headlights and whatnot, factory plug, I was able to find the wiring diagram for it, and I'm going to be able to use the keyed 12 volt and the harness and whatnot to finish tying that together. I got the alternator wiring there. We picked up a plug. For whatever reason, CBF doesn't send you the plug for this alternator, which is not my favorite. So we picked that plug up. We wired it so that it has an exciter wire, and the wire for the starter. Actually, the wire for the starter is already hooked up. It's going into that plug I just showed you. So we are making a lot of progress on the wiring. We're near completion. I'm still going to have to go in the car to do the wire for the MSD, but that's about it. The other thing that we're doing, I'm in the process of putting the fan on. So the fan comes with these push-through things. I don't like these. I don't really want to use these. But this is the fan that Austin picked. So this is what we're going with. I am modifying it slightly. It just came with those and nothing to put in between the fan and the radiator. And I probably overthink things probably. But I don't like putting a hard plastic thing that's going to vibrate and rub against the cores and the tubes of the radiator. So I put some of this here, double stick tape, two-sided tape, and then some of that rubber that I had used for the fuel pump gasket, I cut and we're putting there. That'll actually give it 2 layers of padding, so that it's spaced away from the radiator, and I won't do that. I have a little bit left that I will cut little squares or circles, depending on how well it goes, to put on the other side of the radiator as well, so it has padding on that side too. You know, it's just thin. It's not a whole lot of. It's real thin. It's not going to do a ton, but it makes me feel better. So that's what we're doing. So I'm in the process of finishing that up. I've already stuck these two here. These are on here good. I got to put a little hole through them, obviously, for the push pin to go through. But I got to peel these and stick them, and then I'm ready to stick it to the car. And then we can wire it. I've already got the wiring to the fan 90% done, but I've got to put a plug on both sides of it so that it can be unplugged and the radiator can be pulled out without cutting wiring. I try to make the thing serviceable when I wire it. So that's where we're at. This is why it's taking so long. This is why I didn't have a video up last week, because we've been wiring and doing chaos. I don't want to put any more videos up of tedious work on this car. I want it to be done. I want this video to be done. So hopefully that's where we're at. Hopefully we're real close. So okay, we have made a lot of progress. Admittingly not filming as much as I probably should. I've got a lot of footage filmed from doing wiring and everything else. So my goal was just to give you the cliff notes and show you the done car. which is still the plan. Hopefully that can happen. We currently have a new carb. We have the line started. We have to run it inside for the oil pressure. The grounds are redone. We had to, the front accessory drive is done. Katrina and Austin finished putting that on. However, the belt they sent was about a half inch too short. Even taking the alternator and the AC compressor loose and tilting them in as far as we could not get the belt on. So we're going to get a belt. It's a super special, not available, run down the street and get it kind of belt. So we're going to have to work on that Monday. And Austin's got to get a fan for this thing. And then also, when we got the accessory drive in, I don't think I showed it, the battery tray hung out too far and you couldn't get the cap off the power steering. So I had to take the battery out. You can barely see it. I had to trim the back side so we could slide it forward, slide it inward. It's still the same width as the battery. It's not too small, but it looks a little better than trimming the front side. And it'll keep it steady, and now you can get the cap off of it. And Austin's drained the transmission pan. I'm ready to put fresh fluid in it. And the ignition is completely done other than wiring inside the car once the car is off the lift. There's about 3 or 4 things we have to wire inside the car once that's done. We are real close. I've got to finish the throttle inside the car as well. We got a new cable because the one that was on it was about 2 inches too short. But we are making real good progress. I think tomorrow, we might be able to have this thing done tomorrow. Tuesday, I would say, probably at the latest. Katrina's off Monday, Tuesday, so I'd expect these guys over here probably both days if we have to. But Operation Get the Car Somewhere Other Than Here is commenced. So.
Okay, after 2 weeks of wiring and little nitpicky things and all the things. Which is the reason I haven't had a video out, because most of this stuff doesn't make a very good video. We are, other than there are see some wire over here loose, I do have to get the car off the lift, finish changing the brake booster, and then wiring 3 wires underneath the dash that are key on. Otherwise, it's all wired. Everything is done other than those 3 wires. So we're going to fire it up, and we hope to have this thing run and idle. And it's open header, so we're not going to run it forever, for a real long time, but we are hoping to run it for 5 minutes or so.
That would be awesome.
So
it has been broken in before. It is a flat tappet camshaft, but it has been broken in and dyno run, so none of that should be a problem.
okay. Theoretically, it should be able to crank with the key. I tapped into the wiring diagram that I had. We'll see if that works. We may end up having to adjust that. The car, again, reminder, the car is going to get rewiring a new harness ASAP. So I didn't get super involved in trying to find the right plug and all that kind of stuff. There's like the Excite wire is just spade connected into the fuse box bulkhead. So there's some of that that's not 100%, but the wiring from that point forward is 100%. So I made it to where when they rewire the car, they can tap into what I've already done and not have to redo things. So, okay, I have my power probe here so that I can power anything I might need. Also, I can use it to check to make sure the alternator is charging. Again, if the Excite wire is not going to excite, I can trick it into kicking the alternator on. And I may have to use it to crank the car. So we'll see how that goes. Turn the
You want to key on and see if your Windows power up?
turn the key on. Yeah, see if the wipers do anything. Not wipers,
Windows.
Windows. You can roll the window down. Yeah, I don't know if they work at all. So
They used to.
They used to. I don't feel like there's any power in this one.
okay.
All right.
Well, let me double check this. Make sure that. And
There's a dashboard light on that's in here.
well, that's a start.
It's getting really hot.
Hmm?
It's getting really hot. This light that's in here.
The dashboard light's getting hot.
It's not the dashboard light, it's this little light that's shining onto the dashboard. Right there.
Well, if it lights on fire, let us know.
Okay, cool.
I'm just trying to see if there's should be main power, which is the one I believe I already put that wire to. All right, well, bump it and see if it cranks.
With the key?
Yep.
Yeah. We're double recording. We now have fuel pressure.
I'm recording you, recording me, recording you.
We had, what was it, 5 and 7
5 and 7.
switched. Hopefully that's part of the problem. Fuel pump is now primed and is getting pressure. Matter of fact, too much.
Yep.
That's a tomorrow problem.
Yep.
Today we want to hear it run. So,
Yep.
in a second to get in place. I'm not going to hook that fuel pump up at the moment, so I don't want to blow the car. Okay, crank it. Well, hold on. Yeah, go ahead. First off, let me close it.
Still no oil pressure.
Still no oil pressure.
It hit off perfectly last time. Okay.
Try it again.
Bring it. Nope. Not happy.
Well, the fire motor is correct.
But it's one incorrect.
It's very possible. Very
I
possible.
rotated them.
So we're going to rotate these 1 point.
Where does it have one at?
I'm going to go forward
Is
one.
one labeled on the cap?
No. Not that I see. I'm going to go forward one.
Okay.
In this rotation and see if that can.
Do you want to put your black cap on while you're doing that?
No.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. For my camera, the last time we tried to start this and the carburetor was foobarred, I had rotated them one and got it to run. So theoretically, we were rotating it back to where it should have been. Where I wired it the first time, according to the diagram that I used. Anyways, all right. Hit it.
Try this again. Rotated one counterclockwise rotation.
Oh, nope. It's worse.
Yes, it is.
So go 2.
Go the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason Austin is doing this and not moving the distributor is because since this was on the dyno and running, it had not had the distributor touched. So unless some weird something happened, the distributor should be perfect because it was on an engine dyno and ran and broke in. And so it should just be a matter of getting the plug wires in the right position. Apparently they're smarter than we are at the moment, but we're persistent. So.
If you don't give up, you never lose. Okay.
It's still hooked up, so crank it.
All right. We have rotated back to where we were, and then one more backwards. See if that makes it happy. Even more pissed. Okay. What in the heck?
It ran with 5 and 7 wrong. It hit up right immediately. Does this motor have a different firing order?
I don't think there's such a thing as a 5-7 swap.
Well,
Big block
not
motor.
necessarily. I'm just saying is there different.
There is an LS.
Yeah, but I'm saying like this is a 400 versus a 440 or whatever.
All the big block Mopars are the same thing.
Are you sure?
400. Yeah.
This cam doesn't have a different firing order.
You shouldn't.
I'm not an Mopar guy. I don't know. Because like Fords, there's two firing orders. So.
Right. What is going on here, guys?
Okay.
Well, I'll turn off the MSD box. I'm going to move all this stuff back again. This was supposed to just be a win, and then we'd go home. Get ice cream. Okay, we are back. One is here. For all of you Mopar guys, reference-wise, we went this way. We went this way. One is here. Go ahead and hit it. Turn the MSD box. MSD box is on. Hit it.
I didn't do it.
Leaking.
What are we leaking?
Fuel.
Oh. A little bit of fuel.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah!
Hopefully I can just give it a little snug.
That sounds good.
I can try to see if it's charging. Let's switch it back to this side.
Okay, MSD box is on. I will rotate with you. Go ahead, hit it. Probably out of fuel.
Maybe.
It's
Let me get a.
alive! All
I
right.
think the Excite is working in a second.
So we're not charging yet?
I have a feeling it might not. That pump is that. The clip in that box is very loose. So. Okay.
Probably give us a little fuel pumpy.
Okay. Get it.
Hang on. Let me get a quick little video here.
That's empty.
Oh, come on, turn off. All right.
Also,
Go ahead.
hold.
Nope.
Yep. It's alive!
It's charging.
Oil pressure did go up.
Yeah, we got oil pressure.
Yeah, it went up to 60 before it stalled out.
It got to 60?
Yep.
Great. Okay.
I was watching it.
Oh, thank God.
But I couldn't tell you it was a car.
Well, you're
Thank God. All right, so we got oil pressure.
I don't know why it keeps. Other than that's probably its cold nature. But
Well, we haven't adjusted anything also.
yeah,
And it doesn't have a choke.
that's what I said.
So,
Um,
I'm going to try to keep it running with your foot.
no, I'll just do it.
Okay.
I'm just turning the key.
So let me. Okay, go ahead.
Didn't open the thermostat yet.
Okay, so still have some loose ends, couple wires to fix. Obviously, the carb has to be adjusted. Also a little ATF. We shouldn't have done that.
Why do I have to drop something in here?
Okay. But anyways, couple loose ends, but it lives. So,
Yeah.
it's done more than it has in 4 years, so that's a good start. And yeah, that's time to finish up the little loose ends, and it can go home. Well, I doubt you can hear me because it's running. Finally. Still got a lot of mess to clean up. We're sitting here idling. Alternator's charging. Oil pressure's good. It's not good now. The fan's kicking on and off. It's going between 180 and 200. No visible leaks. I still got to put the brake master cylinder on and bleed the brakes, but that's about it. As you might imagine, I wanted to get this thing started, so I didn't care about putting a booster on yet. Sounds good. It's not ready to cruise yet, but they've got a lot of stuff to do. They're going to do their wiring, and they got to do an alignment on it and put the exhaust on it. And we're having some trouble with the brakes. I tried every which way to get it to bleed. My suspicion is, after sleeping on it, after fighting it for the better part of a day, after sleeping on it, my suspicion is that even though I blew the lines out before I assembled it, that there must be some sand in the lines, maybe in the proportioning valve or something, from when they sandblasted the engine bay. So I can't get any fluid out of it, no matter what I do. But you know, I did a lot of work to this thing above what we were planning on doing in the start. So we're taking it home, and we'll let Austin figure that out. So gave her a bath, and we'll take it home and see what he wants to do. At this point, I've taken so much longer than I had planned on taking. It might be ready to go ahead and get the EFI that they were talking about. It wasn't quite ready when we first started this project, but I think it's ready now. So, but I'm glad to wrap this series up. It was never supposed to be this many videos or this long. Definitely not this long. But you know, it's just the way the thing happened. So I'm excited to get back on my stuff. I've already got some work done on my brown truck to get it where I want it, and get dug in on that Scout, and we'll see what else we can come up with. Thanks for watching, and tune back in when we start something new. I guarantee it'll be something interesting, I think. Yeah, once again, I apologize for missing so many weeks, and because that's number one, is don't miss weeks when you're doing YouTube, but life. So so we're done, and we're going to move on. So I'm excited to have her get her car back. They got the winter time now to get it to where it's 100%, so she can go anywhere in it.
No choke, untuned life.